Since the inception of this nation, there has always been a standing rapid response military presence available to either the president or the governor of the state to deploy. Before they were known as the National Guard, militias were in each state to protect states' rights. But in his second term, President Trump is very obviously and consistently trying to usurp the power of the governor to hold a militia-like audience to protect states' rights and federalizing those people to do his bidding. The Guardian reported yesterday that an order came from the Pentagon saying that we need to have 500 rapid response National Guardsmen ready in every single state and territory that the United States has. Now, we already have that, and we have had rapid response National Guardsmen in every state and territory, again, since forever. What is different now is the Pentagon wants to train those National Guardsmen on riot control, which would be directly having the military control civilian police activities, and that is against what's called the Posse Comitatus Act, which explicitly says that the military cannot engage in civilian law enforcement. The way that Trump has been getting around that to this day is by declaring a state of emergency and saying, well, now that we're under a state of emergency, we have like a baby martial law, which does allow the federal government to deploy troops to do whatever he wants them to do. But as soon as the president federalizes the troops, they become federal military control, and they are not allowed to turn weapons on civilians. That's the Posse Comitatus Act. It doesn't mean that it won't happen. Kent State proves that it does happen. When the National Guard was deployed to quell riots, and they shot a bunch of college students. Now, the lesson from the National Guard being deployed to Kent State kept the National Guard from really being used in this way pretty much up until this day. But since we are dealing with demented boomers, they are remembering the 1970s as like the heyday of their life. I mean, that's why a lot of the stuff from the 70s, 80s, and 90s seem to be coming back. It's because these demented boomers are remembering their glory days and going, hey, we should do it like that again. So, is this foreshadowing that Donald Trump will try to call a national emergency and deploy 500 members of the National Guard per state to places like polling locations or city centers to try and stop people from being able to vote, or to turn guns on civilians and create some kind of like military state? He wouldn't have enough people to do that. Just like Daniela, scholar of cults and extremely bad leadership, says, there are only 2 million people in the military and they are deployed all across this world. If we were to have 23,500 standing National Guardsmen who were going to be deployed to city centers or voting centers, you still would not have enough people to overrun the will of the people. 2 million total members of the military, even armed to the teeth, cannot take 340 million civilians. They could not even take on the state police, who would be under the control of governors. And you don't want to see the military fight the police. You don't want to see the military and the police even come together to try to fight civilians. Even if they did that, there still wouldn't be more of them than there are of us. It's something to keep an eye on, but it is not something that we cannot overcome.